Hey guys, Jonathan here. And I think I owe you an apology. I feel like last video was pretty whiny, and that definitely was not my intention, but, you know, it is what it is. So, I wanted to reset, refocus, and get cracking on some new artwork. So, today's video is going to cover a couple drawings. The first one I'll just fly through, and then the second one I'm pleased with how it turned out, so I'll talk a little bit about that. I painted this one right before bed. Try to be pretty quick about it, but yeah, very quickly it started turning into a Destiny 2 character by the name of Shaxx. Although I wasn't looking at any reference, just kind of, I don't know, a version of Shaxx, I guess. If I were to go back and flesh this thing out more, I would be looking at references. But since I didn't intend to draw Shaxx when I started drawing, or something Shaxx-like, it's not quite Shaxx. It actually kind of, if you're familiar at all with the game lore, at the end of it, it kind of looks like if Shaxx were a Cabal Scion, I guess. And again, if you don't get that reference, that's fine. But the Cabal are kind of like oh boy, how do I you know what, I'm not even going to describe it, just Google it. But anyway, yeah, he kind of ends up looking like a Cabal Shaxx, so I thought that was kind of fun. Yeah, so I'll just let this play. And the next one is the one that I really wanted to show. So yeah, here's the final render of that guy. Pretty sweet, pretty sweet. And then here's the one that I actually want to go over. So this one started as a scribble of a goblinoid thing. I had this idea of, I'm always trying to make things grosser, I guess. So, you know, a goblin is gross, but a goblin made of meat is grosser, and then a goblin made of meat, what I started going with here were the like spiky strings of meat that would support his weight from a ceiling or something, but then it just kind of, I don't know, wasn't panning out. So then I was getting a little frustrated, and I started drawing all these dark blobs and kind of making a spiral design. And I thought it would be kind of cool to have a cave, and at the back of the cave there'd be like this massive like gate or something to that effect. So I end up seeing in the scribble, not really looking, I'm not really trying to draw something specific, but in the scribble I kind of see a skull shape, and, you know, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here, so I just take the skull and go. I wanted to focus largely on tone, or, excuse me, I wanted to focus largely on contrasting light and dark space in this piece. One of the things that I think really can elevate a piece is the one of the things that I think stands out as not good, pretty obvious to people, is if you don't have high enough contrast, or contrast that makes sense in your piece. For me, I struggle with, and I've mentioned this in other videos, foreground background contrast. The idea of things in the background being lighter is sometimes correct and sometimes not, and it's a bit of a science and it's a bit of alchemy, I feel like, in order to get the feel of whether something should be lit, partially lit, lit but faded, or dark, etc, etc, etc. So the whole point of this exercise was to sort of get better at that, and also paint a cool environment. So I am attempting to block out shapes here where the light, the indeterminate light source, will be cascading over. I knew I wanted to have, for a 3D reference, I guess, I knew I wanted to have a bunch of little point lights in the scene. So I knew there was going to be light, so I didn't feel too, I guess, intimidated about putting a bunch of bright spots all over this dark cave. I also like to paint this way. I also know there is some virtue in painting the whole image and then dealing with sort of the light and dark portions after the fact. Yeah, so here I am, pretty pleased at this point with the giant skull gate thing. I wanted it to be alien looking almost, like not alien in the sense of UFOs, but alien is in like that's not right. So obviously he's got a lot more teeth than he should have and multiple rows of it, which lead into a portal into what I'm going to assume is some sort of dark assembly. Maybe there's a an evil cult on the other side, or an ancient tribe put this door there as a barrier, and some intrepid adventurer is going to foolishly stumble through. So yeah, that's sort of the idea anyway. So I'm pretty pleased with the general layout here, and now I am going back and defining bigger areas of light and dark. So I like the idea of the skull being barely visible. To offset that, here I'm painting in the light sources I mentioned. A couple of tiki torches, and then the light that they cast on the ground around them. I know I do 3 rows of these, or 3 series of these. Initially I was just going to do the one, and I don't know, I don't love the height of those torches, because I feel like the torches, they're just the right height to be confusing. That's unintentional. So if I were to go back and do this again, I think I would really take a harder look at the perspective and just see what it is I'm trying to do here. The torches in the foreground, I feel like if we are standing where we are in relation to the size of that skull, they should probably be a little bigger. And then the mid-ground torches should stay the same, and then the far back torches are about the right size, I feel. So, yeah, I'll live and learn. But anyway, enough about torches. So I'm just painting in more dark, more light, trying to figure out how much of the torch light is landing on these different surfaces, and as a result, it allows me to create better rock geometry. Yeah, so here I am painting the mid-ground and ultimately background torches. And my children wanted me to put some lights in the eyeballs and in the mouth, so I played with that for a bit. The color was recommended by one of my kids, so, you know, if you like how it looks, high five to them. And also the bats were a suggestion by them, which is a great addition, I feel. So they have a good, good eye for these kinds of things. But yeah, I'm painting in some bats, and eventually I do take away the blue lights in the eyeball, but they're fun while they're there. Painting in more stalactites, stalagmites. It's funny, it's like you hear it, you know it, you learn it, and then it's like you think you know it, and then you start to question, is it the way I remember it, or am I supposed to be remembering the opposite? The stalactites do one thing, stalagmites do it. No, it doesn't matter. Here I'm playing with some color, some layer effects. I settle on a color burn layer with not super high opacity. And I just think it gives it that perfect mix of there's light here, but it's not a light space. Yeah, so I'm very pleased with the lighting at this point, so I'm just kind of painting it in so that I can make a nice square or rectangle render for the final shot, which we're coming up to pretty quick here. Then I just go about cleaning up a little bit. I actually take it into Photoshop after the fact, and I don't show that part of it. It's not that exciting. I'm just kind of going through and cleaning up. I bump up the resolution of the final image. The things that come out of the Galaxy Tab S6 are, I don't want to say low resolution, but screen space resolution, which is not quite enough for some of the finer line work that I end up adding in, which is not quite enough. So yeah, I take this into Photoshop and end up cleaning up some of just the little mistakes, like the reflections on the poles. I make them a little tighter. I make some of the foreground rocks much more defined, and then just kind of play around with some of the structure of the skull in the background, which you'll see here in 1 second. And so this is the final render. Could spend some more love on it, but I want to move on to other things, so I'll put this one up and call it a day. I am pleased with how the rocks look at the end, and that was the rocks, and I was pleased with how the rocks look, and I'm pleased with the composition in general. Again, if I do it all over again, I'd do more with the perspective with those torches, but yeah, man, just looking at them right now, I see a mistake. I gotta fix this. I'll be right back before I put this up. Yeah, anyway, so that's all corrected. Yeah, so anyway, this is my latest and greatest. Just wanted to get something out there. I didn't like the note that I ended everything on in my last video, so I'm going to end this one on a better one, hopefully. If you like what you saw here, and you want to let me know in the comments down below. Remember to like and subscribe if you want to see more. I try to put these up once a week. It's a rolling week. Sometimes it's every 4 days, sometimes it's every 10, you know, but I'm generally trying to get it up at least once a week, once a calendar week. So if you like these images, or if you want to see some more of my artwork, or just the actual final renders in a little bit cleaner format than a video, head over to my portfolio website. It is artstation.com/creaturecraft. And I have a bunch of artwork up there, and I'm trying to put more up every week, obviously. So, yeah, stay tuned. Hopefully I'll have another one of these up soon. Thanks. Bye.